Is Mickey Mouse about to lose his house? It seems woke Disney fairy tales equal low ticket sales. Box office analysis of Disney's last 8 studio releases show a shocking loss of nearly $1 billion.
Disney, once synonymous with family-friendly classics and magical storytelling, now finds itself at the center of heated debates. Recent controversies surrounding its casting choices, reimagined narratives, and public statements from actors like Rachel Zegler have sparked backlash from fans. These issues, coupled with underperforming box office releases, paint a troubling picture for a company that once seemed untouchable.
With me the last time it happened, and I was like, God, I hope no one, because every time they come up to me, I'm always online for them.
Right, yet Disney's response is surprising. Instead of avoiding controversy, they appear to embrace it. Every heated social media debates, every viral clip of slurred dismissing traditional Disney themes, and every negative review seems to serve a broader purpose. Disney thrives on being talked about, whether positively or negatively. The big question is, how does this strategy help or hurt their brand in the long run? With Rachel Zegler remarks as our starting point, let's explore how Disney uses these controversies to its advantage.
I mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can.
Rachel Zegler's casting as Snow White and her remarks about the original 1937 classic caused a media firestorm. She criticized the beloved animated film for being outdated and lacking modern values. Fans, however, saw her comments as dismissive of a cherished piece of Disney history. The backlash was swift and intense, with many accusing Disney of forcing woke narratives at the expense of storytelling integrity. Despite the uproar, Disney didn't backtrack. Instead, they leaned into the controversy, letting Zegler's polarizing statements keep Snow White in the headlines. It was clear that the attention, good or bad, was more valuable than appeasing traditional fans. This approach shows that Disney isn't as concerned about audience loyalty as they are about staying relevant in a crowded entertainment landscape. But is this gamble worth it? To answer that, let's look at how Disney's recent box office numbers stack up.
Shocking loss of nearly $1 billion. That's almost a lawsuit.
Disney's recent track record at the box office has been far from magical. Films like The Little Mermaid barely broke even despite massive marketing campaigns, while Strange World and Lightyear flat-out flopped. These weren't small losses either. Box office analysis suggests Disney's last 8 studio releases collectively resulted in a loss of nearly $1 billion for a company that once turned every release into gold. These numbers are alarming. Take The Little Mermaid as an example. It generated significant buzz, partly due to its casting choices and divisive reception, yet its earnings fell short of covering the combined production and marketing costs. So similarly, Lightyear's attempt to spin off from Toy Story ended with an underwhelming performance thanks to the backlash over creative choices. These failures raise serious concerns about Disney's strategy, but it's not just about the numbers. What's causing this fatigue among audiences?
Argues that many of Disney's recent so-called hits barely broke even or flat out tanked. That includes big-budget Marvel movies like Black Panther 2, Ant-Man 3, as well as animation bombs like Strange World and Lightyear, and my favorite, Snow White and the Seven Drag Queens.
Disney has long relied on its franchises Marvel, Star Wars, and animated classics to drive profits, but what was once a surefire formula now feels like an oversaturated market. Marvel's recent releases such as Ant-Man 3 and Black Panther Wakanda Forever underperformed compared to their predecessors. The excitement surrounding Star Wars has also dwindled, with movies taking a back seat to streaming series like The Mandalorian, which still struggled to recapture the magic of the original trilogy.
They're out of touch with the value of the customer. Pretty soon they're going to have a version of Sleeping Beauty starring Bill Cosby. Okay, yeah. Nobody wants that. I'm just saying.
This decline isn't just about weak stories or divisive characters, it's about overload. Audiences are bombarded with sequels, prequels, and spin-offs, leaving little room for anticipation or wonder. The result: fewer fans rush to theaters, and even those who show up are less engaged. With fan fatigue setting in, can Disney rely on controversy alone to keep its edge? Let's see how they are flipping backlash into a marketing weapon.
Indiana Jones, also produced by Disney, could suffer a similar fate if the terrible reviews are anything to go by. It doesn't look good. I'm told 80-year-old Indiana Jones spends the entire film looking for the man.
Disney seems to have mastered the art of making headlines, even if it means stirring up controversy. Recent films like The Little Mermaid and the upcoming Snow White remake have sparked heated debates online, from casting choices to comments by actors like Rachel Zegler. While these disputes might seem like PR nightmares, Disney views them differently. Every viral debate, every social media thread, and every critical YouTube video ensures one thing: people are talking about Disney. Take The Little Mermaid, for instance. Its casting of Halle Bailey as Ariel ignited widespread discussions, with passionate arguments on both sides. This controversy overshadowed even the film's plot, yet it kept Disney in the cultural conversation for months. Similarly, Rachel Zegler's remarks about Snow White guaranteed that the movie stayed relevant long before its release. But can controversy alone sustain a brand? To understand Disney's broader challenges, let's examine how shifting audience tastes are reshaping the entertainment landscape.
They send so much stuff to Disney Plus that it really got oversaturated, and things have to be so special to spend as much money as we do going to movies. Like, most people cannot afford family movie tickets.
Audiences today aren't the same as they were during Disney's golden age. Younger generations are gravitating toward platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch, where short-form content, gaming, and anime dominate. The traditional Disney formula of animated musicals and heartfelt storytelling feels less relevant to these viewers. Meanwhile, the older fans, Disney's core audience for decades, are alienated by the company's attempts to modernize its classics. The shift in tastes has created a disconnect. Movies like Lightyear tried to cater to progressive ideals but ended up pleasing no one, failing both commercially and critically. Even legacy franchises like Star Wars have struggled to bridge the gap between nostalgic fans and new audiences. Instead of uniting generations, Disney's content often feels caught between two worlds, satisfying neither. So what's keeping Disney afloat? These changing tis the answer lies in a different kind of magic: their theme parks. Let's take a closer look.
Making movies that create problems rather than literally just highlighting the ones that exist. What is left for people to identify with? Mm-hmm. When we want to go watch a movie that's outside of this world, we go watch 80-year-old Tom Cruise fly a jet and kill a bunch of probably Russians, but they never really.
While Disney's movies struggle to connect with audiences, its theme parks remain a bright spot. In 2023 alone, Disney parks brought in $8.95 billion in operating income, proving they're still a cornerstone of the company's empire. Parks like Disneyland and Walt Disney World draw millions of visitors annually, offering immersive experiences that movies often fail to deliver. Even controversial films like The Little Mermaid and the upcoming Snow White contribute indirectly to this success. Whether or not audiences love the movies, they spark interest in related park attractions, merchandise, and themed events. For instance, new Ariel-themed merchandise and revamped rides at Disney parks keep fans engaged long after the movie leaves theaters. This steady stream of revenue from parks helps cushion the blow of box office losses, but it also raises a question: can Disney rely on parks alone to sustain its magic? High production costs in films suggests not.
Dollars! That's almost a lawsuit. It's gotten so bad, Cruel de Vil is
Disney's recent films have ballooned in cost, with budgets rivaling those of entire studios. Take the upcoming Snow White remake, which reportedly cost over $330 million to produce. Pandemic delays and extensive CGI work only added to the expenses. Even generous tax rebates from filming in the UK barely made a dent in these overwhelming figures, and the spending doesn't stop there. Disney's marketing budgets are just as extravagant, with campaigns spanning TV, social media, and merchandise partnerships. But when these big-budget films failed to generate matching box office returns, the losses are staggering. The Little Mermaid, for instance, struggled to cover its massive production and promote tie-in costs. The pattern is clear: Disney is gambling on enormous investments only to see diminishing returns. With this level of spending, the stakes are higher than ever, yet Disney doesn't seem panicked. They a secret weapon: streaming.
Billions upon billions upon billions of dollars in flop after flop after flop, or at least mediocre performance after mediocre performance.
For Disney, staying in the spotlight isn't just about ticket sales, it's about proving their cultural relevance to investors. Controversy, whether over casting choices or public backlash, keeps Disney in the headlines. From Rachel Zegler's divisive remarks to debates over The Little Mermaid, these viral moments reassure stakeholders that Disney still commands attention in an increasingly crowded entertainment landscape. Investors are less concerned about individual box office numbers and more focused On the long game, a polarizing movie can still drive. Multifaceted approach gives Disney an edge even when traditional metrics like box office performance falter, but leaning on controversy comes with risks. Can this strategy sustain the connections Disney once had with its audience? To understand what's at stake, let's examine how the magic of Disney storytelling has evolved or faded.
You know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story. With a guy who literally stalks her.
Disney once was a master of storytelling, creating timeless classics like The Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin. These films didn't just entertain, they forged deep emotional connections with audiences today. However, that magic feels diminished. Many of Disney's recent projects are criticized for being uninspired, overly commercial, or designed more to push merchandise than to sell meaningful stories. Take Mulan, for example. The live-action adaptation was meant to reimagine the beloved animated classic, but ended up alienating fans with its tonal shifts and changes through the original narrative. Unlike the original Beauty and the Beast or The Lion King, these modern remakes often lack the heart and originality that defined Disney's golden age. The focus on profit over storytelling risks eroding the goodwill that Disney built over decades. So what happens when audiences start to lose trust in the brand? Public backlash has become a regular occurrence for Disney, with boycotts often trending on social media. Critics accuse the company of prioritizing political agendas over creative storytelling, leading to campaigns like #BoycottDisney. While these movements generate headlines, they rarely make a significant dent in Disney's bottom line. Why? Because Disney's empire is too diversified to be derailed by any one controversy. Even when movies like Lightyear or The Little Mermaid face backlash, Disney theme parks, merchandise, and streaming platform continue generating revenue. A film flop might sting momentarily, but a new attraction at Disneyland or an exclusive series on Disney Plus helps cushion the blow. For instance, the controversy surrounding The Little Mermaid didn't stop the release of Ariel-themed dolls and Halloween costumes, which sold briskly. Disney's current approach, fueled by controversy and franchise overload, has kept them in the spotlight, but it's a fragile strategy. The company risks alienating longtime fans who crave meaningful storytelling while failing to capture younger audiences moving toward gaming, anime, and other platforms. To regain its footing, Disney needs to pivot back to what made it special: original, heartfelt stories that resonate across generations. The challenge lies in balancing modern sensibilities with timeless appeal. If Disney can't adapt the magic that once defined it, might fade for good, leaving competitors to take the throne. So what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.